Hello, distinguished friends and colleagues. This is Stuart Hamilton, the Pro-Life Activities Coordinator for the Archdiocese of Louisville, Kentucky, serving under Deacon Stephen Bowling. And this is a very special 5 minutes for life as I'm coming to you here from the Maloney Center in downtown Louisville, Kentucky. This morning, 10:10 a.m., June 24th, 2022, the Supreme Court handed down their decision in the Dobbs versus Jackson Supreme Court case. The court has ruled to overrule Roe versus Wade and Casey versus Planned Parenthood. I would like to read just one quote from their decision. Quote, "We hold that Roe and Casey must be overruled. The Constitution makes no reference to abortion, and no such right is implicitly protected by any constitutional provision. It is time to heed the Constitution and return the issue of abortion to the people's elected representatives," unquote. With this, abortion will no longer be a federally mandated issue. It will now return to the states, where the elected representatives of each state will then be able to decide the issue legally within their own borders. This, as you can imagine, is sending shockwaves throughout the nation today. Many people are making commentaries, and there's going to be a lot of noise, and I don't want to add to it. We need to listen to the shepherds of our church, our bishops. With that in mind, I'd like to read some quotes from a couple of statements that have come out. First of all, this quote is from the USCCB. Archbishop Jose Gomez, the president of the USCCB, put out a joint statement with Archbishop William Lori, who's the chairperson of the USCCB's Committee on Pro-Life Activities. And this is in part what they said. Quote, "This is a historic day in the life of our country, one that stirs our thoughts, emotions, and prayers. For nearly 50 years, America has enforced an unjust law that has permitted some to decide whether others can live or die. This policy has resulted in the deaths of tens of millions of preborn children, generations that were denied the right to even be born. America was founded on the truth that all men and women are created equal, with God-given rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. This truth was grievously denied by the U.S. Supreme Court's Roe v. Wade ruling, which legalized and normalized the taking of innocent human life. We thank God today that the court has now overturned this decision, and we pray that our elected officials will now enact laws and policies that promote and protect the most vulnerable among us," unquote. You really need to read the rest of that statement. It's in the description of the video below. But also, our 4 bishops here in Kentucky put out a statement, and I would like to read from that. The statement from our 4 bishops from Kentucky emphasize the various ways that the Catholic Church has actually created an infrastructure for helping women choose life. Okay, so their statement is more about those concrete measures that make it possible to overrule Roe v. Wade and have women and children flourish here in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. So they say this, quote, "As our nation deals with the pivotal decision of the U.S. Supreme Court to overrule Roe v. Wade, we know that people will respond with polarizing statements and varying degrees of outrage, fear, support, sorrow, and joy. We would like to propose that we take this opportunity to channel what we regard as a positive, life-affirming decision into action to support women, children, and families of our Commonwealth. We affirm that every child is a sacred gift. We know that families may need help in welcoming this gift through programs and policies that will address the challenges and mitigate the pressure that women may feel in making the decision to seek an abortion," unquote. They go on to talk a little bit about Walking with Moms in Need, a program that's being organized by the Catholic Charities here in Louisville and is going to be implemented at the parish level. They also talk about this amendment to the Kentucky State Constitution that will be on the ballot on November 8th. So they emphasize that that's an absolute necessity to protect the unborn in Kentucky. I'll read from their statement, quote, "We also call upon all citizens to thoughtfully and prayerfully consider and vote yes for life this November by supporting Amendment Number 2. This proposed constitutional amendment is very simple and will prevent our state courts from ever issuing a decision like Roe v. Wade. It adds one sentence to the Kentucky Constitution, quote, "To protect human life, nothing in this Constitution shall be construed to secure or protect a right to abortion or require the funding of abortion," unquote. So there you have it. You guys need to show up on November 8th and vote for Amendment 2. Now, I've talked a lot about where Kentucky state law now stands. We have a trigger law that was enacted by Congress back in 2019 that will now go into effect. Of course, that's likely to be challenged by activist judges. But if you want to know more about that trigger law or the laws of the states that are surrounding Kentucky, I'll put a link to the video in the description of this video to that video, that 5 Minutes for Life, which talks about all of the states surrounding Kentucky, not just Kentuckiana law. For now, though, I'm just going to urge you to read these statements from our bishops, which you can see once again in the description. Take a deep breath and say prayers of thanksgiving. As I've said consistently, life is worth fighting for because every life has dignity and value in the eyes of God. God bless you, and truly thank God for this historic day. We'll see you here soon.